Hey guys, this is part 2 of my story Torn Apart. I hope you enjoy it. Disclaimer: the characters and pictures do not belong to me. All rights belong to their rightful owners. I don't see the characters the way I portray them in my story. As a reminder, my first language is not English. My English is not the best. This story contains a lot of angst. It will also have +16 scenes in later parts. I advise not to read this story if you are under 16 or not comfortable with these topics. Warning: mention of suicide attempt, depression, and violence. The week went by far too fast for Atsumu's parents. They wanted to spend as much time as possible with Atsumu before they drive him to Tokyo into his new life. They didn't want to bring their son to Tokyo yet. They weren't ready to let him go yet. They wanted to have more time with him, but they let him go because they know how much he suffers. Ever since Atsumu's parents knew what happened between Osamu and Atsumu, they often tried to get Osamu to believe Atsumu. They even sent the twins to therapy together. Osamu mostly did not go into therapy. Her parents also tried to convince Osamu to go into therapy, and that Atsumu did not do anything wrong either. The situation didn't get any better from the talks, it just got worse, and it only made Osamu angrier. The week did not go by fast enough for Atsumu. After he and his parents came home on Sunday evening, Osamu was even angrier than usual. It got worse day by day. On Thursday, Atsumu told Akage that he was changing schools and that was why they were a little late for training. When Atsumu and Akage got into the gym, the team was just about to warm up. Osamu came and slammed him against the wall and pinned him there. What the hell is wrong with you? At first you don't come to training twice, and when you come then you don't concentrate, and now you're late? Pull yourself together. If you go on like this, we won't even make it to the national championships next year. Is volleyball no longer important enough for you? Then you should just stop and leave the team. It's bad enough that we lost to Karasuno because of you. You will regret it if we don't make it to the finals next year because of you. Stop that. Osamu let go of him. Atsumu and Akage, we go to the old gym and we will practice there. Aaron, you are the captain today. Akage, you go ahead. When Atsumu and Akage were gone, Kita looked at the team in disappointment. Has it ever occurred to you that Tsu no longer plays as well as usual because you've been bullying him for half a year? Because you, Osamu, beat him up several times? Or maybe because you, the team he loved so much, betrayed him? Because you didn't believe him when he told you that he didn't sleep with Samira? If you believed him, why did you break up with him? You always say you believe him, but if you had as much trust in him as you always say, you would not have left him. I didn't break up. Tsu broke up with me because he wanted to protect me. When you started turning against me too, he wanted to protect me from it. I also believe that he broke up with me because he wanted to commit suicide at the time. I found him on the train tracks the day before he was invited to the All Japan Youth Training Camp. Your actions always have an impact. What would you have done if I hadn't found him that day? Osamu, could you live with the fact that you drove your brother to suicide? Why didn't you tell me he tried to commit suicide? I'm angry with him, but I don't want him to die. I promised Tsu I wouldn't tell anyone about it. Osamu, I can promise you something, that you will soon regret your behavior and everything you did to Tsu. The whole team was shocked by the information they just got. Everyone looked very guilty. Osamu and Suna both had tears in their eyes. Kida went outside and went to the old gym. After 5 minutes of total silence on the court, Osamu went outside followed by Suna. They went to the old gym to ask Atsumu's forgiveness, but the door was locked. They waited until one of the team came to pick them up because the trainer wanted them on the court. When they went to the old gym after training, Atsumu was no longer there. They quickly went to see if he was in the club room, but he was already gone. Suna accompanied Osamu home. They didn't talk to each other because they were both caught in their thoughts. They both thought of everything they said and did terrible to Atsumu. Suna was Atsumu's best friend before turning against him. He had been in love with Osamu since the first year of high school, and when it came to choosing a side he decided on Osamu. Suna very much regrets what he said to Atsumu, especially after he found out that he almost drove him to suicide. Osamu wanted to speak to Atsumu and apologize for everything. As he listened to Kida, he realized that he was going too far. Although he wanted to hurt his brother for sleeping with his ex-girlfriend when they were still together, he didn't want to bring his own brother so far that he saw no other solution than to commit suicide. Even if he is very angry and feels betrayed, he still loves his brother deep in his heart. Suna and Osamu both stopped in front of Osamu's house. "Baby, do you want me to come in?" "No, I want to speak to Atsumu alone." Suna went home and Osamu went into his house. He went straight to Atsumu's room and knocked. He waited, and knocked again. After 2 minutes he wanted to open the door, but before he could open it his father spoke to him. "He is not at home. Atsumu wrote that he will sleep at Akaga's today." "Why? It's the middle of the week." "He just said he doesn't want to sleep at home." "I assume that you said something to him again in school?" "He needs some rest, and that's why it is okay for your mother and me that he sleeps at a friend's in the middle of the week." "Okay. I'm sorry. I know I'm not easy for you in the last time, and I know I'm a total ass to Atsumu. I promise I'll get better. You don't think that's coming a little too late? But better than never, I guess. Give him some time. He needs his rest." Osamu went into his room and lay on his bed. He thought about what he said to Atsumu and that it wasn't all bad that Atsumu slept with Samira. If Samira hadn't cheated on him, he wouldn't have gotten together with Suna. Flashback 2 months ago. Osamu had another bad day. It started with the fact that he dreamed that Atsumu was with Suna and that they slept together in front of him. Then at school he saw Samira trying to kiss Atsumu. And training didn't go well either. After training, he let it out on Atsumu, as he often did. "You want to make me believe that nothing went between you and Samira, but then I keep seeing you two kissing. Stop lying and finally admit it." Osamu yelled at his brother while he pressed him against the wall. Atsumu pushed him away. When Osamu reached out to hit him, he defended him like he always did, or at least tried to. But Atsumu struck back for the first time in 4 months. "It doesn't matter what I tell you, you don't believe me anyway." The two brothers fought with each other for a while until Kida and Suna intervened and the two separated. Osamu went to Suna's home and had his wounds treated by him. When Suna was done, he sat down next to Osamu and put his hand on Osamu's thigh. Body contact is nothing unusual for the two of them. When the two are alone they also hug and sometimes they cuddle when they watch films together. Osamu, what's wrong with you today? You are even angrier than usual. Did something happen? And don't tell me it's because of Samira. I know you and I know it's not just that. You were more ruthless towards Atsumu than usual. Was Atsumu ever more than your best friend? What? No, we were always best friends. I've been in love with someone else since the first year. Osamu's eyes immediately tears up. He got up and wiped away the tears. I should go home. Osamu, wait. It is you? What? You are the one I love. Osamu went to Suna and pulled him by his chin. He brushed the strands from Suna's face and pulled him into a deep kiss. When he broke the kiss he looked Suna in the eye. I love you too. That's why I was so angry today. I dreamed that you were with Atsumu and when I saw you together today I got so angry. It's bad enough that he stole Samira from me. I don't want him to get you too. You don't have to worry about that. I never had such feelings for him. End of flashback. Well, somehow I owe Atsumu that I'm with Suna. Otherwise I would probably still be with Samira. I love Suna more than I ever loved Samira. But it still hurts that Atsumu betrayed me. I should try to forgive Atsumu as long as I haven't lost him yet. Osamu spoke to himself. He decided to speak to Atsumu the next day and work on their relationship and build trust again. The next day, Osamu tried to talk to his brother again and again, but whenever he had the opportunity, Kita or Akagi intervened and stopped him. In the afternoon, Atsumu did not come back in the last 2 lessons. During the last lesson he saw him through the window. Atsumu carried a box, but Osamu couldn't see what was in the box from the distance. He watched his brother leave the school grounds. When Atsumu got to the entrance gate he stopped and looked back one more time. Atsumu raised his hands and made a movement to his face as if he were wiping away tears. Atsumu looked to the classroom where Osamu was. He waved to Osamu and turned and walked away. Osamu did not understand what was happening. He didn't think that the wave should be a goodbye. When school was over, they still had training. Osamu hoped that he could talk to his brother afterwards. But when he was in the club room, Atsumu was not there, as was Kita and Akagi. Does anyone know where Atsumu, Kita, and Akagi are? Why are you interested all of a sudden? Everyone turned to Akagi who was just entering the club room. I need to speak to him. I have to apologize for everything? Don't you think that is coming too late? After everything you did to him? He doesn't want to talk to you. Haven't Kita and I told you that enough today? I know, but I finally realized that I wasn't fair to him. Even if I'm hurt, there is no reason to treat him so badly. You only think that way now because Kita told you yesterday that Atsumu wanted to commit suicide, isn't it? Osamu, this is ridiculous. If you leave your brother alone after you realize that he is suicidal. But you don't have to worry. Thanks to 2 people he knows from the training camp, he is no longer suicidal. 2 that he has only known for almost 5 months saved his life by giving him a reason to live again. Just leave him alone. Akagi went to Atsumo's locker room and took out everything that was in it and put it in his bag. What are you doing with Atsumo's things? You will find out soon enough. Before I forget, Kita, Atsumu, and I won't come to practice today. With that he left the club room. As Osamu slowly processed everything that was said, he collapsed in front of the whole team. Suna knelt down next to him and took him in his arms. He rocked him back and forth to comfort him. Osamu stayed during the training, but as soon as the training was finished he went home as fast as possible. When he got home he noticed a strange car in front of their home that was full of boxes and bags. He thought that maybe one of the neighbors would move out. When he went inside, all the lights were already out and his parents and Atsumu could not be found. He knocked again on Atsumu's room, then after the third time he wanted to open the door, but the door was strangely locked. Osamu decided to try his luck again in the morning. He wanted to make Atsumu his favorite meal and apologize. Osamu went into his room and tried to sleep. Atsumu's point of view. Stop that. Osamu let go of him. Atsumu and Akage, we go to the old gym and we will practice there. Aaron, you are the captain today. Akage, you go ahead. Atsumu said nothing and went to the old gym with Akage. Kida came to them after 10 minutes and locked the old gym from the inside so that no one would bother them. Kida informed the trainer that they will train on their own. They didn't practice, they sat together on the floor and talked about a lot before the practice ended. They went to shower and left the club room before the others had finished cleaning up. The three went to the cinema together and after that they went to Akage's home to spend the night there. They wanted to have one last cozy evening together before Atsumu moves to another city. They have a lot of fun together. They laughed a lot and also cried together. They talked a lot with each other. Atsumu, promise us that we will stay in touch. You are very important to us and we don't want to lose you as a friend. Of course we will stay in contact. You guys are my best friends and I love you both. I owe you so much. You were always by my side. You were there when I had no one. You are the reason why I have stayed here for so long. Promise me that you will be happy with your boyfriend in Tokyo. You deserve to have peace and happiness. And if Sakusa hurts you, Akage and I personally come to Tokyo and tear his butt off. Don't worry, my Omi won't hurt me. He loves me. I'll miss you. The three boys spoke at the same time. They started laughing and hugged each other. Next day, Osamu tried to talk to Atsumu the whole day, but luckily Atsumu's two best friends were with him during the breaks and prevented Osamu from talking to his brother. Atsumu purposely only came into the classroom when the teacher came and was also the first who left the classroom. He always went to the third-year floor to avoid Osamu. Atsumu did not have to go to the last two lessons because he still had to hand over some things and still had to clear his locker. When he had done everything he went home. When he was at the entrance gate he turned around again. He remembered the beautiful things he experienced at this school and also the bad things. The memories bring tears to his eyes. He shifted the weight of the box with his things on one arm and wiped away his tears with the other. He looked up at his classroom one last time. He saw his brother who was already looking out the window. He waved to him to say goodbye. For him it wasn't just a simple wave, it was an end. With this wave he said goodbye to his old life to start a new one. He turned and went home. At home he began to pack his things and load them into the car. His parents rented a bigger car from friends so that they could drive everything to Tokyo at once. After school was over, Kida and Akage came over to help with packing. Atsumu texted Akage that he had forgotten some things in the club room and whether he could still get them. The three friends packed together and ate one last time together. Atsumu wanted to go to sleep early because he had to get up at 4 a.m. so that they could leave at 5 a.m. When he was standing alone in his room, he decided to lock his door so that Osamu couldn't come in and force a conversation. Atsumu feared that if he heard his brother apologize he would stay, but he knew it would break him to hear an apology if nothing changed. The whole farewell from home is not easy for him. He doesn't want to leave his family and friends. But if he stayed he might succumb to his inner voice that keeps telling him you should put an end to your miserable life. Before he can forgive his brother, Atsumu must heal his wounds that are deep in his heart first. When Atsumu had seen no meaning in life, a person came into his life who brought light back into his darkness. Sakuatsu came and pulled him out of his hole. Without Kiyomi and Motoya he would not have survived the last 4 months. Atsumu was still awake when his brother came home and knocked on his door. Atsumu sat up and stared at the door. "Sumu, please listen to me, please. I know I treated you terribly. I would like to apologize to you and listen to what you think happened with Samira. Please, Tsumu." Atsumu buried his head between his knees and cried silently. After a while he heard Osamu trying to open the door. Then he heard steps moving away from his room. Atsumu lay down again and started out through the window. After a while he fell asleep. Next morning. "Atsumu, my darling, you have to get up. Let me sleep for 5 more minutes. No, you have to get ready so that we can go, and you have to have breakfast too. Is good? I am coming downstairs in a moment." Atsumu dressed and went downstairs. When he came into the living room, his parents were already sitting at the table with his 2 best friends. The tears welled up in his eyes. The fact that his 2 best friends came to him at 4 o'clock in the morning to see him off touched him extremely. "What are you doing here? We wanted to say goodbye to you. And we wanted to see you one last time before you go." They ate together. Atsumu brushed his teeth and put the rest of the things away in his closet. He kept some things like clothes and shower things at home when he wanted to visit his parents. Atsumu's parents were already in the car, so Atsumu could say goodbye to his friends in peace. "Tsu, I go, gonna, miss you. PL, is WR, Ida say, a lot T, ta, KCA, re, IW, ilk, EPY, you up to date. I will me, SSUV, very much." Atsumu hugged his friends and went to the car. He turned around again and looked up at Osamu's room and saw his brother standing by the window. Atsumu opened the car door and looked one last time at the window in which he saw his brother disappear. He got in and his father drove off. Atsumu opened his window and leaned out of the window to wave goodbye to his friends again. He still saw his brother running outside. Osamu stopped in the middle of the street. That is the end of part 2. I would like to thank everyone who left me a like or comment on part 1, and I also thank everyone who followed me. I didn't think this story would be so well received. I hope I met the expectations with part 2. I have a new Instagram account where I will make updates and where I will upload eventual smut scenes. Sakuatsu heart. Link is in the description. I apologize for the grammatical errors. Write me a comment how you liked the story. Don't forget to follow. If someone wants a video, please let me know it. I will try to write your ideas as best as possible.